Alright, so here's a couple of the new cards coming out that I thought were good. First up, there's Shinra no Morigami LC. I don't know, I can't say the name, it's crazy. It's a generic rank 8 monster. And let's see, once per turn you can declare one card name. Reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a declared card, add it to your hand. Otherwise, send that card to the graveyard. And his second effect is, if there's a card sent from the deck to the graveyard, by a card effect, you can detach one XYZ material from this card, then target one card on the field. Place that card on the top or bottom of the deck. And that second effect is awesome. Basically, if his first effect doesn't go off, where you can actually add a card to your hand, and go +1, you can use the second effect to pretty much compulse one card on the field. And that's really awesome because there isn't really too many great rank 8 monsters besides the Divine Dragonite, where you can detach one XYZ material to become immune to card effects, or to negate someone else's card effects. It's a really good effect, but other than that, the other ones are really situational. And this is a really good all-around rank 8 monster. Considering it's just 2 level 8 ones, there's no special conditions to it. That's awesome. And then the next one is the Fairy Knight in Gunra. 3 level 6 monsters. Once per turn, you can detach 2 XYZ materials from this card. Return all cards on the field to the hand, except this card. Your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated in response to this effect. That's another really good one. It's just 3 level 6 monsters, which isn't really easy to do, but there aren't really... Actually, there are a couple really good level 6 monsters. There's M7, who's really good. And then the Gauntlet Shooter can destroy 2 monsters. But this one, it's a field-wide giant Trunade that cannot be chained to, which is awesome. That's a really good effect. Especially if you can return like a whole bunch of cards that you can reuse, like a field spell card. I don't know, that's just really good. Considering level 6 monsters, Monarchs are the only ones I can think of at the top of my head. I don't know, there's probably a way to make that effect work better, but the effect itself is really good. And Ghost Trick Duelahan. 2 level 1 monsters. Another level 1 XYZ monster, because I really need more of those. And it's 2 level 1s. Oh, it's just a generic one. This card gains 200 attack for each Ghost Trick card you control. So I guess it would gain 200 for its own effects, so its attack would go up to 1200. Once per turn, during either player's turn, you can detach one XYZ material from this card, then target one monster on the field. Have that monster's attack until the end phase. During either player's turn. Oh, wow. That means you can use that during the damage step. Since that turns it into a spell speed 2 effect, and since the effect is to change attack and to change attack, it can be activated when other cards can't be. That's a really good effect. That's awesome. You can use that on your opponent's card while attacking, so you can... I don't know, that's a really good effect. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one Ghost Trick card you control, except this card, add that target to your hand. Yeah, that's good if you're playing in a pure Ghost Trick deck, but I can see this being great in like a Froggy Monarch deck. I go for rank 1 monsters all the time, because that effect to have a monster's attack is really good. The Rikishi Veruzubuyutu. This card is an Ice-Swarm monster, but not a Constellar one. He's a Valiant monster. He's just 2 level 4 monsters. Here in your main phase, or your opponent's battle phase. If your opponent has more cards in his hand and field than you do, you can detach one XYZ material from this card, destroy all other cards in the field, and your opponent takes no damage during the turn you activate this effect. That's awesome. It's a Judgment Dragon effect, but only under certain conditions. If your opponent is ahead of you in some way. During your battle phase means you can use XYZ Revival. I think that's the name of it. It's like the Call of the Haunted for XYZ monsters, where you can add the XYZ material to it, so you can destroy all cards in your opponent's field if you chain that to it. Yeah, that card is really good. Possibly broken. Down Nerd Magician. That's a really weird name. I'm guessing they just translated weirdly, because there's a whole bunch of different ways to translate nerd in Japanese. 2 level 4 spellcaster type monsters. Finally, another monster that's just pure spellcasters. because the other one kind of sucks because it requires spell book cards. During your main phase 2, you can also XYZ summon this card by using a rank 3 or lower XYZ monster you control as the XYZ material. This card gains 200 attack for each XYZ material attached to it. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. If this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, detach one XYZ material. Alright, so its first effect is pretty good, where you can just drop it on top of a rank 3 monster, but only to your main phase 2, so you can't attack the turn you do it. And second effect, to gain 200 for each XYZ material. Basically, if you just bring him out by itself with the 2 level 4 spellcasters, he comes out with 400 extra, bringing him up to 2500, which isn't half bad. If you drop him down to a fresh rank 3 monster, it can go up to 2700, which is pretty good. It does piercing damage, but if he inflicts battle damage, you have to detach an XYZ material. That effect kind of sucks. But piercing damage is always good. That's why Gaia Knight is really good too. I don't know. That card's okay. Let's see. And, oh, the new rank 3 one. It's not a numbers card? Okay. It's just Gorgonic Guardian. Two level 3 rock type monsters. Once per turn, during either player's turn, you can detach one XYZ material from this card, then target one face-up monster your opponent controls. This turn, that monster's attack becomes 0, and also its effects are negated. Second effect, once per turn, you can just once per turn, you can target one monster with 0 attack on the field, destroy the target. That one doesn't require XYZ materials as a cost. Alright, so it's basically you can pop one card your opponent controls, while at the same time negating its effect, while bringing its attack down to 0. Or you can just choose a monster with 0 attack on the field already and destroy that target, but usually you'll do it after you reduce its attack to 0 with its effect. This card is amazing. I can totally see decks being built around it. Let's see. Any other good ones? Oh, the new lightsworn synchro monster. Light Lord Arch Michael, or Michael Lightsworn Lord. Is it Michael? Yeah, I think so. It's a level 7 light dragon type synchro monster. It requires 1 tuner plus 1 or more non-tuner light type monsters. And level 7, yeah, that's probably easy to bring out. Once per turn, you can pay 1000 life points. Actually, yeah, you can bring it out with a Raiden plus that one card. The level 3 lightsword monster that allows you to discard a card to special summon a lightsword. So this card's super easy to bring out. Once per turn, you can pay 1000 life points, then target one card in the field. Banish that target. So it's like Judgment Dragon, except it only targets one card and it banishes. That's pretty good. When this card is destroyed, you can target any number of lightsword monsters in your grave, except Michael Lightsword Lord. Shuffle all of them into your deck. If you do, gain 300 life points. Yeah, that's not really good. You kind of want to keep the lightsword monsters in your grave. During each of your end phases, send the top 3 cards of your deck to the grave. Well, its first effect is good. And it's easy to bring out in a lightsworn deck. All the new Cyber Dragon cards. Cyber Dragon Dry. It's a level 4 light type monster. When this card is normal summoned, you can have all levels of Cyber Dragons you control become level 5. You cannot special summon any monsters during the turn you activate this effect, except machine type monsters. If this card is banished, target one Cyber Dragon you control. That monster cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects this turn. This card becomes Cyber Dragon while it is on the field or in the graveyard. I love how the new Cyber Dragons become Cyber Dragon while in the grave. That's really awesome for that one Pikeman card I've always wanted to make a deck around, but only Harpies have the potential to have so many cards with the same name in the grave. Let's see, if this card is banished, target one Cyber Dragon you control. That monster cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects a turn. Oh, that's cool for the new fusion card. Alright, on to the next one. Cyber Dragon Core. Level 2, light machine type monster. When this card is normal summoned, add one Cyber or Cybernetic spell trap card from your deck to your hand. When it's normal summoned, go +1. If your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Special summon one Cyber Dragon from your deck. You can only use one Cyber Dragon Core effect per turn, and only once that turn. This card becomes Cyber Dragon while it's on the field or in the grave. That's a great card. Cyber Dragon from your deck. Yeah, that's awesome. Really good. And what is it? He only has 400 attack, which means you can machine duplication him. Dang, that's crazy. Alright, on to the next one. Cyber Repair Plant. Normal spell card. If a Cyber Dragon is in your grave, activate one of these effects. If there are 3 or more Cyber Dragons in your grave, you can activate both of these effects. You can only activate 1 Cyber Repair Plant per turn. Add 1 Light Machine type monster from your deck to your hand, or target 1 Light Machine type monster in your graveyard, shuffle that target into the deck. Well, the first effect is good. Hand neutral. Second effect isn't really that great. You kind of want to keep those cards in the grave. Alright, Cyber Network. Destroy this card during your 3rd standby phase after activation. Once per turn, if a Cyber Dragon is on the field, you can banish 1 Light Machine type monster from your deck. When this card on the field is sent to the graveyard, special summon as many of your banished Light Machine type monsters as possible. If you do, destroy all spell and trap cards you control. Those monsters cannot activate their effects. You cannot conduct a battle phase a turn you activate this effect. Wait, what? Destroy this card after 3rd standby phase once per turn. If a Cyber Dragon is on the field, you can banish 1. Oh, so you can just keep banishing cards at this one. Well, that's really good because there are a whole bunch of cards, light attribute cards, where they can special summon themselves based on the amount of light monsters banished. So this card's really good for activating that. But you can only activate if there's a Cyber Dragon on the field, so you can just pretty much just to combo those cards in, I guess. And when this card on the field is sent to the graveyard, special summon as many of your banished Light Machine type monsters as possible. And if you do, destroy all spell and trap cards you control. You can't activate monsters yet, you can activate. So you can just MST this card during your opponent's turn to special summon all your cards, during their end phase. And then go for an OTK that turn. It's like a really weak version of Return from a Different Dimension, except its first effect to keep banishing cards from your deck. It's pretty good, because there are a bunch of light type monsters that get special summon based on the amount of banished light monsters you have. Alright, and the last one, Cybernetic Fusion Support. Quick play, pay half your life points once during this turn. If you would fusion summon a machine type fusion monster, you can banish the fusion materials listed for that fusion monster from your hand, your side of the field, and or graveyard to fusion summon. You can only activate 1 Cybernetic Fusion Support per turn. So it's like a spell card version of chain material that you can use, well, that you can actually attack during the turn you use it. And it doesn't allow you to fusion summon from your deck. And pay half the life points, that's not really bad. That's actually good for some decks that require you to have low life points. It only works for 1 card though, so you can't just fusion gate summon your, spam your field with Cyber Dragons. But all the Cyber Dragon fusion monsters are good. So, this is a good card. I don't know. It's all about getting Cyber Dragons in the grave, and all the Cyber Dragon fusion monsters require Cyber Dragons. So you can bring out one of those, but I'm just thinking about which fusion card you use for this. Because they have to be banished, but you can still just use Poly, but Poly isn't really that good. Or you can use Cybernetic, the one where it doubles their attack that turn they're brought out. I guess that would probably be the best way to use it, and just target 2 Cyber Dragons in your grave for a Cyber Twin Dragon who can attack twice with 5800 attack. Or is it, well, it's 2800 attack times 2, so it goes up to 5600, yeah. That's still a huge beat stick that can attack twice that turn. Or 8000 Cyber End Dragon that has piercing damage. And probably the Twin Head Dragon's better though. So yeah, that card's good. And I think that's it. I mean, there's a couple other cards that are coming out, but they're not really noteworthy.